Have you ever felt like you've been divinely saved? So I'm going to tell you a story that very few people know other than my immediate family and the friends that were with me on that day. So I grew up on a farm, and my friends at that time were a few miles away from me. We got together one weekend to put together a raft on a pond. Now, to get to my friend's house at the time, I had to ride the farm four-wheeler over. We got done with what we were doing on the raft, and it was getting close to the end of the day. And just before we were about ready to all go home, we decided to have a little friendly race amongst us. So our race started, and I was not leading. I quickly decided that I was going to cut across this hillside with tall weeds, not thinking about the path I was taking. By the time I realized I shouldn't have gone this way, it was already too late. I went over the side of a silage bunker. Now, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a cutout in the side of a hill where we store corn silage and let it ferment for silage for the winter to feed the cows. As they get used, the bottoms of them can be as hard as concrete from tire compaction and all the silage that's been on top of them over the years. This one was probably about 12 foot tall from the bottom to the top. So I hit the bottom, and you can imagine it was probably very hard, but thankfully I was wearing a helmet that looked something very similar to what you would think of an astronaut wearing in the 70s. I can remember the wind being knocked out of me, and when I was getting up, I noticed that my nose was bleeding pretty bad. We got a washcloth for my nose, my air came back to my lungs, and I didn't break anything, so I was pretty lucky. My one friend said when he saw my four-wheeler land, he saw it hit like this, rock, and just stand up on its nose. Now there is a brush guard on the front of the thing to protect the headlights, so it wasn't like it's a slanted nose, but it still was pretty miraculous that it just stood there on its nose until we flipped it back over. Now if the four-wheeler would have come over, it would have landed on top of me, and it's about 400 pounds, so it definitely wouldn't have felt good, and it could have potentially hurt me. I honestly think that either God or angels stood that four-wheeler up on its nose. And the fact that I didn't get hurt other than a bloody nose and the wind knocked out of me, that is pretty amazing.